Well, everybody says the people, and I would say that too, but also the opportunities here. I think it's beautiful geography, good weather most of the time, lots of culture, lots of opportunities for recreation, good city facilities. So I think that all of that is a wonderful place to live, and the people are so friendly. I hear that from many, many people. Everybody's open and friendly, and so it's a great place to be. Well, of course, it was about half the size it is now. I think about 80 to 85,000 people. There's a lot more going on. The trails were new. Now the trails are almost completed. The trail to Greeley, I guess one link of it is the only thing that's left. So that's improved a lot. There are more parks, interesting parks, a lot more cultural opportunities in music, in art, and it's just grown up. It's a city getting to be pretty big. Downtown is successful and big. When I first came, it wasn't very much, but since I was mayor, we certainly tried to do things for downtown, and one of the things I know is that we tried to put housing over the Safeway on Mulberry and College, and we had a vote on that. It was called Oak Park, and we were going to use tax increment financing to do that, and there were people who objected to that, and the vote failed, so that it didn't go through then. But now people really don't question downtown development or a store on the main level and housing on top. It's one of the in things. The other thing that's different, I guess, when I was mayor, we also had a vote on a tax for the corridor between Loveland and Fort Collins, and that also failed. But now we have that. So it isn't that we had bad ideas, it's that they were a little early. And so I think that some of these things have proven to be good for the city. Well, probably when I think back on it, it would be getting through the resignation of the city manager, going through some big transitions with the deputy city manager working as the manager, and some changes. And by the end of my term, we had a new city manager who turned out to be very good. It was a long process and a difficult process, but I think that in the long run, it's something to be proud of, to get through all that. And I think really there wasn't a lot of disruption. There was a lot of fuss in the newspaper, but I think for the most part, things went quite well. Well, that was the greatest challenge, certainly, the resignation of the city manager and going through the interview process, hiring a firm to gather applications and go through them, and all those things that are involved in hiring an executive, and working with the council. And I must say, I think we worked very well together to do that process, and we all agreed at the end. So it was a challenge, but we worked through it very well. Oh, well, we did have, I don't know if it was a major challenge. Someone wanted to recall 4 of us, and we got through that. I mean, it was a time of change, I would say, in the city, and there were these challenges, but I think that for the most part, we got through them, and the city did very well through all that time. I don't have one. I enjoyed meeting different people. And as mayor, of course, you get to introduce these people, and one of them was an author, Rudolfo Anaya, who wrote a wonderful book called Bless Me Ultima. It was interesting having dinner with him, and then there was an economist, Kenneth Boulding from CU, who was very chatty and interesting to meet, and some other things that I did as mayor. One of them was testifying at a committee hearing in Washington for the Poudre River recreation area, and going to New York with Platte River Power Authority and signing bonds for the electric system, and those kinds of things were certainly memorable. They stand out, I guess, more than the routine of day-to-day things. Well, I think the longest term impact, I was not mayor when it was passed, but I worked on passing the smoking ordinance, and I think that that has had a big impact in Fort Collins, and we were one of the first cities, if not the first city in the state to have a smoking ordinance. And I remember going and testifying in the legislature in Denver with another council member. Another thing that has had a lasting influence or impact is Fort Fund, which was part of the Convention and Visitors Bureau's tax, and that still exists, and arts organizations are very delighted to have the Fort Fund. It wasn't called that at the time, but it became that. And another one is art in public places. That was something that we talked about during my term, and it came to fruition probably maybe the next year. I'm not sure exactly when it came to fruition, but it was something that I initiated. Well, I think a lot of it, they need to think about what's really good for the general public in the city and put aside personal kinds of campaigns. I think that people really need to look at the environment, water, air quality, keeping up city facilities. We hear a lot today about infrastructure that is crumbling. We have to make sure that ours does not. It's one of the things that makes Fort Collins a great city. I just think that they need to put the citizens in the city ahead of their personal, I don't know, ambitions. That it's a community, and we have to work for the betterment of the community. Well, I'm not very good at crystal balls, but I can look back 25 years and see that some of the issues are still the same. They may have some differences, certainly. I would hope in 25 years we have a mass transit system to Denver. That would be nice, or even to Colorado Springs. Perhaps in 100 years, or maybe a lot less, we'll have these new cars that can keep you a certain distance from other cars, and making the drive to Denver, if you want to go to Denver, a lot easier. So transportation within the city and outside the city, I think, needs to be worked on. I think working on air quality and water quality, the environment is always important, and I don't know if we'll have fixes for that. I'm sure technology will just keep going, but what it will do, I really don't know. I'm not really good as a futurist, I don't think, and I haven't been reading those things recently. We have to hope that the health and welfare of the people just continues. It would be nice if we could maybe get rid of housing problems and have jobs for all levels of people. And I just don't, I'm not good at that. Well, I just think Fort Collins is a wonderful place to live and work, and hope that people can put aside petty differences and work for the good of all.